We've spent an entire season building toward this exact moment. Today I'm giving you the definitive data showdown, the real Airbnb versus corporate housing income results, pulled straight from my actual corporate bank ledger, start to finish, no cherry picking. There's no hypothetical math here, and there are no filters. This is the raw truth. We've to face the ultimate question: is the short-term rental model officially dead for serious investors? This is the complete case study forced by the market shifts of 2026. When I started this journey, I was completely exhausted. I was fed up with the chaos of consumer apps, and I'd to face the reality that my spreadsheet assumptions were wrong. 1 year later, the numbers are locked in. Today, we evaluate the portfolio as full annual performance, tracking every win, every loss, and every variable with complete transparency. I want to be clear about something before we get into the numbers. This was not a smooth, linear improvement. There were months this year where I genuinely questioned whether I'd made the right call. The final numbers are good. Getting to them was not always comfortable. If you keep clinging to an outdated business model out of stubborn comfort, you're actively choosing to fall behind. You stand to lose your financial edge simply because you refuse to look at the real scorecard. I'm breaking down the exact mistakes I made, what caused a real capital bleed, and the exact coordinates for scaling a corporate master lease strategy safely across multiple markets. Let's look at the actual numbers. Let's lay out the plain truth. Amateurs chase gross revenue because it feeds the ego. Operators know net cash flow is the only number that actually dictates your freedom. Over a full 12-month trailing period, my 3 properties under the traditional Airbnb model generated a volatile gross sum of $114,000. But strip out the 60% operating expense, guest turnovers, platform commissions, seasonal vacancy, aggressive city licensing, and repairs. Our true net profit compressed down to $45,600 total. That's an average of $1,266 per door per month under constant hospitality friction. Now look at the new model, the corporate master lease we executed in episode 9. Under our 3-year commercial contract with the relocation firm, our properties locked in a combined gross rate of $9,600 a month. That totals an annualized gross of $115,200. Look at the expense column. The relocation firm contractually absorbed all utility bills, routine housekeeping, and turnover maintenance. Because of that, our total expense footprint dropped to a fixed $4,800 a month, covering only our debt service, insurance, and taxes. Our true net annualized profit lands at $57,600. That's a flat $1,600 per door every single month. Moving to corporate housing expanded our net profit by 26%, and it completely insulated us from seasonal drops. 26% does not sound dramatic when you say it out loud, but on an existing portfolio with the same 3 properties, the same 3 roofs, and no new capital invested anywhere, that's real money you were leaving on the table every single year without ever knowing it. Shifting to corporate housing unlocked an extra $12,000 of pure net profit on the exact same real estate. But the financial premium pales in comparison to what this model did for my personal time. When you actually calculate the hours of your life required to extract those dollars, the picture becomes undeniable. This brings us to the time audit. Remember this rule: true wealth is never calculated solely by the capital you accumulate. It's defined by how much command you actually have over your own calendar. If an investment forces you to work weekends just to protect its yield, you've not built an asset. You've built a low-leverage job that owns you. Let's look at the raw hours. Under the old short-term rental model, I was sacrificing an average of 82 hours every single month, chasing cleaning crews, resolving guest disputes, adjusting pricing, and putting out fires at 2 a.m. That's nearly 1,000 hours of my life burned every year just to keep 3 properties afloat. Once the programmatic corporate housing infrastructure was live, my active time involvement dropped to less than 1 hour a month. The corporate accounts payable division wires the distribution directly to our commercial account. Their internal procurement team handles the entire occupant lifecycle, start to finish. I bought back over 900 hours of my life in a single year. That's time I can put directly into finding the next acquisition instead of running retail hospitality operations. 900 hours is more than 20 full work weeks. I spent that time underwriting 4 additional properties, sitting down with 2 new lenders, and honestly, just being home for dinner most nights instead of answering a guest message from the kitchen table. Wiping out that much labor completely rewires your relationship with the business. A year ago, real estate felt like a second job stacked on top of my first one. Today, it feels like an actual investment. But I'm not going to pretend this entire season was a flawless highlight reel. When you push a new system live, you'll hit real friction. Let's talk about the actual lessons this season forced on me. The biggest lesson I'd to learn the hard way is simple. Business-to-business relationships operate on a completely different scale. Business-to-business relationships operate on a completely different scale than retail consumer interactions. Amateurs think corporate housing is just long-term renting to wealthy individuals. It's not. It's an institutional matching game, and the rules are different. I discovered that corporate procurement managers do not make emotional decisions based on aesthetic staging. They care about structural alignment, strict compliance, and fast crisis resolution. When our sub-foundation plumbing line failed back in episode 6, it forced me to realize something. You've to treat your properties like a corporate facility, not a home. Shifting my mindset to match institutional standards was a heavy front-loaded lift, but it protected my downside completely. Once you prove to a corporate carrier that your asset can absorb a disruption and keep standing, your vendor relationship becomes an asset in its own right. Mastering corporate compliance insulated our cash flow completely, but if I had to go back to day one and run this entire season over again from scratch, I'd avoid 2 major traps that together would have saved tens of thousands of dollars and several months of stress. Let's be completely honest about the biggest mistakes I made. If I were restarting from zero today, I'd eliminate the first error immediately. I'd stop trying to navigate multiple individual clearinghouses at once before establishing a real legal foundation. In the beginning, I wasted nearly 4 weeks and thousands of dollars in legal fees trying to force my residential setup into individual relocation networks, without a standardized corporate master lease rider. Because I didn't standardize our contract riders from the start, we suffered the compliance freeze. That single vulnerability cost me over $7,000 in immediate out-of-pocket liquidity just to keep the mortgages covered while it got sorted out. The lesson is clear. Never build your operational pipeline before your legal foundation's locked. Front-load the legal protection, establish a cash reserve of at least 90 days of fixed expenses, and only then start bringing in corporate occupants. The second mistake was smaller, but still cost me real money. I underfurnished one property for its first corporate placement. It failed the facility inspection outright, delayed that entire placement by 3 weeks, and ultimately ended up costing far more in lost rent than the furniture upgrade would have cost me. Avoiding that one mistake alone would have saved me weeks of stress and thousands of dollars. Now you've watched the entire season arc, the math and the mistakes. That leaves us with the actual blueprint. Here's the definitive 4-step framework you can copy right now to move your own portfolio into corporate wealth. Step 1. The underwriting stress test. Force your current property through a strict 20-minute review. Confirm it can maintain efficiency even at a 35% local vacancy contraction. Step 2. The infrastructure audit. Strip out consumer-grade digital routing entirely. Install dedicated mesh data networks with synchronized cellular backups. Step 3. Contractual standardization. Secure an airtight master corporate housing agreement that defines the corporate entity as the primary lessee, hedging your eviction downside completely. Step 4. Redundant clearinghouse integration. Upload your verified inventory into multiple specialized insurance procurement networks so you're never dependent on a single retail app. Picture your entire portfolio passing through 4 checkpoints before a single corporate tenant ever moves in. Stress-tested, infrastructure audited, contractually standardized, and redundantly connected. That's the difference between hoping it works and knowing it will. Look at the shape of that framework. It's the exact lead domino that moves your real estate out of the high-friction retail hospitality trap. You stop guessing and you start executing. The complete annualized data proves it. The corporate master lease model is the definitive vehicle for serious operators. It delivers premium yields without the operational suffering. Failure and friction are just information. They exist to force you back to the drawing board and push you toward a better design if you let them. By auditing the math, locking in corporate agreements, and eliminating platform dependency, we built a real estate machine that outpaced AirBnB net profit by 26% while slashing active management. You go from an exhausted retail host to an unshakable asset allocator. If you're completely done with hospitality delusions and want the exact blueprint to build institutional-grade wealth, make sure you're fully subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on right now. Season 1 is officially done, and this architecture's fully proven. But we're not standing still here. In the next series, I'm taking this exact model and scaling it across multiple corporate markets nationally, including a specific blueprint for launching this strategy with 0 existing properties. Starting from a completely cold list of markets. The next series is coming. Take massive action and let's scale this together. The next series is coming. Take massive action and let's scale this together.